I'm guessing the Canada shooter was
they chose to be identified.
Yeah, they said she's a gun person or
Jesse was
something.
born as a biological male.
This is a gun person?
Approximately, the information that I have, approximately 6 years ago began to transition to female and identified as female.
Guys, it's happened again. Another mass shooting has taken place in northern British Columbia in Canada. And
guys, this is the gun person. Don't worry about her.
Has been revealed,
or he, she.
And it happens to be a trans individual. Now I'm going to head over to AP News for us to read an article and get some details about what's taken place here. It says Vancouver, British Columbia. A shooting at a school in remote northern British Columbia left 7 people dead, while 2 more were found dead at a nearby home. Canadian authorities said Tuesday. A woman believed by police to be the shooter was also found dead, apparently from a self-inflicted wound. Now, there are other places reporting that a woman in a dress was seen and was identified as the shooter. Other places are using the term gun person.
Yes,
which we're going to talk about in just a moment. I'm actually going to show clips of that word being utilized. When in reality, in identifying this shooter, we found out that it is in fact a biological man by the name of Jesse
You have
Strang.
to be fucking mental to actually do that one. Like, what is wrong? Why would you?
Including 2
gun person? Really? Is that the best you can fucking do? Gun person? What the fuck is that?
Now, I did look this up. Secondary school in Canada is the term they use for high schoolers. So this was predominantly high schoolers who had their lives taken in this shooting, and then 2 more individuals, as I said before, who had their lives taken at a nearby home. Tumbler Ridge in Canada, in the Canadian Rockies, is more than 1,000 kilometers northeast of Vancouver, near the provincial border with Alberta. The provincial government website lists Tumbler Ridge Secondary School as having 175 students from grades 7 to 12. So this is a pretty small area, a pretty small town. So I imagine this is a very shocking thing to experience. It's shocking when anybody experiences this, let alone a very small town with a small population at a small school. We're going to read this post from Disclose here. It says 10 people dead, and we're getting conflicting reports here. Some are saying 9, some are saying 10. We know the bulk of the individuals who had their lives taken were at this secondary school. And then he also took the life of his mother and his young stepbrother at their home nearby. 25 injured after a mass shooting in Tumbler Ridge, Canada. Police have identified the shooter, but won't release details at this time for privacy reasons, which is really strange to not want to identify them due to the privacy reasons. For who? I mean, it could be
for
like the family of the shooter. It could be in some way, shape, or form to protect the victims. But many have been responding with the identity of the shooter, who we now know to be a trans-identifying individual. I was going to say it's hard to know which male, female at this point. Biological male identifying as a trans woman. Throughout this video, you're going to hear me refer to the shooter as Jesse Strang. That is how he's been identified on some platforms. On others, he's being referred to
this is
as
a
Jesse
person with
Van
the
Strang
the
is
XY
his
chromosome.
last
They
name,
cannot
and
change
maybe not
those.
necessarily the last name that he is being identified with. There's a lot of back and forth here. Okay, so that's the detail that we have. And
they are indeed a man, but they
of this
for what
one photo circulating,
they tried to
they
trans themselves,
and that happens not to be the shooter in this instance. Here is the confirmed photo now that we have of the shooter. Libs of TikTok writes, the shooter was reportedly a mentally ill male who identified as a trans and pretended to be a girl. Police didn't want to offend by misgendering him, so they called him a gun person. And we are going to get to that clip of them calling this boy man gun person.
I can't stop laughing
rather
every time
than gunman. So there are the photos there. And we're going to have a conversation about trans violence, trans mass shootings. It's a sore subject for a lot of people, even though it's something that definitely needs to be talked about, because this identity is often paired with other psychological issues, mental issues, psychological comorbidities that leave these people in particularly vulnerable positions when it comes to committing acts of violence like this. They have a high propensity to do this statistically when compared with other demographics in our population.
It is unfortunate, but it is
without
true.
Being called transphobic, without being told that we're attacking trans people.
It is statistically proven at this point,
that needs to be
just
had
because of how many cases
facts.
have
Now,
happened over the
interestingly
years.
enough, when we're trying to share the facts in this situation, people are trying to veil the reality of what's happened here with words like gun person. So let me show you this. This trans shooter opens fire in Canada, 10 people dead, 25 plus wounded. The police are so terrified of misgendering that they're calling the suspect
oh yeah,
a gun person
yeah.
instead of a gunman.
Fucking Canada land. What the fuck are you doing?
Okay.
See, this is why I don't trust Canada land. Right? This is why I don't trust the north border or the south border.
I just can't. I can't believe it.
That includes the deceased gun person.
Okay. And then separately, do you know the gun person's relationship to
the deceased gun person?
Yeah, like I said, this is why I don't trust the north border.
Is the case
we do not see eye to eye.
Who thinks that they're a woman who is trying to identify?
It is good we have that border, right, dividing us. Yeah.
And when we look at the stats on mass shootings and the gender stats on that, typically you're gonna see that it's biological men who are committing these crimes. So to go on to call this person a gun person or a woman in a dress or a female is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah,
First
it is
of all,
ridiculous.
Because we're not
why
running
can't you
in tandem
just
with reality.
why can't
Second
you
of all,
just
because you're attributing
directly
a heinous crime like this to
identify the
female
person that
population
caused
and
the
to
crime?
women. And we're just
like, why are you
completely
dancing
overlooking
around it?
a certain demographic of this
Like,
population
what is wrong
that
with
seems
you?
to have a high propensity for committing crimes like this. And that's not to say that all trans people are violent and that all trans people are mass shooters. It's just to say that among this group, there does seem to be a high probability.
The fact that these news outlets fucking dance around the fucking subject is so fucking stupid and brain dead.
This shooter, Jesse Strang, and he's been practicing, I guess, his shooting.
I mean, literally call it for what it is. It fucking happened. Like, what is wrong with you? Oh, this person's using a deagle. What the fuck?
Here you go. I mean, on the back of his sweatshirt is also a firearm. I don't know if anybody has a close-up on that. Instead of talking about what's actually going on here, the media and even the police are deciding to refer to this person as a gun person, as a female, as a woman. Reuters, okay, which is meant to be
that's unfortunate. Now I don't want to use it
for news. 10 people dead, including female suspect, after Canada school shooting.
I do kind of still want to get a deagle out at some point, just for the fun of it.
How long can we
just for the kicks and giggles.
Go on. We have to call this out. We have to be honest about what's going on. How many more of these occurrences do we need before we start telling the truth? And this has happened in Canada. I'll take us over to the United States. We've covered instances like this taking place here. Recently, we've talked about Audrey Hale in Nashville. I've got a list here. Robin Westman in Minneapolis. Alec McKinney in Colorado. You have Tyler Robinson, the shooter of Charlie Kirk.
These are the most recent guys, too.
Relationship with
right, we're not talking about like the past, right? The 2 year, 3 year, 4 years past.
It even influenced.
These are the most recent cases.
The casings that were found at the scene of his shooting. All trans/non-binary identifying shooters committing heinous acts of violence against people, often in the name of trans ideology and gender ideology. Often these people have manifestos.
For whatever reason,
posts online where they're talking about their struggles
they're in the
with the trans identity,
LGBTQ+ community
hating
for
people
some reason.
who they believe to be their
at least some of these people are causing issues
about
for some reason. I don't
journey
know
of wanting to switch sexes or the violent thoughts that occur to them that run in tandem.
Well, they want to
identity,
force people to
and
adhere.
The same can be said for this
Sorry,
Jesse
excuse
Strang.
me.
People
They want to
have
force
gone and
people
found
to adhere
different
to
social
their
media
weird
posts
structure.
made by this
And
boy at
it's
the
like,
time
it doesn't
of
make
these
any
social media
fucking
posts,
sense.
Who's now a man.
Because
going
it's like
out
no one
and
put them
committing
in
a
that
crime
position
like
but
this.
themselves.
Matt Walsh, in fact,
Like,
3 years ago, posted a screenshot. And people
they're the ones who feel like they're being
this post
attacked
to be
from
Jesse's,
from
something that he
fucking
posted
shadow
apparently when
boxing
he
out
was
who knows
15.
who.
So how do I stop comparing myself
I don't fucking
to
know.
fictional characters? I'm trans male to female. I'm pre-HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy. 15 years old, and I've been viewing a lot of anime-related content recently.
Oh, this is the
characters are always
I don't know
so
how
cute.
true this is, but yeah,
the
fact that you have some of
body
these
shape and stuff,
doctors actually pushing pushing underage people, minors, to fucking get like
and obviously their
pre-HRT, right, to pop pills,
on anime characters, which if you guys have watched
pop
anime,
drugs,
you know how
what the
completely
fuck?
Unrealistic this body shape or this like makeup of a person is for biological women alone, let alone a man who's trying
these
to
drugs
become
that they
a
don't,
woman.
they
And
obviously
some
do
acknowledgement
not
of that
need.
in this post.
But for
He goes
whatever
on to say,
reason, they still
skinny,
prescribe
so
them.
that sometimes makes me feel kind of good, but I'm pre-hormone replacement therapy. And my expectations are minimal for chest growth, and I'm 6 foot tall. Why can't I be petite and small, sad
Right.
face?
And
Side note,
by
if
the
you know
way,
of anywhere I should go.
let's just be realistic here. In any capacity, what does this treatment do for you? Like, it doesn't improve anything. All it sounds like is just downsides. Me. Like, it does absolutely nothing for you.
To get into watching anime, that'd be nice. Never watched it before. So we have some crazy expectations, some crazy views, clearly an influence of anime, which people have spoken deeply about the connection of watching these sorts of things and the trans identity, the connection between things like autism and the trans identity. I'm not saying this about this particular individual or trying to make that connection. It's just something that's been noted. And I believe that's what Matt Walsh was referencing when he initially posted this 3 years ago. Come to find out, this individual has now turned himself into a mass shooter. Now, there are other posts that are alleged to have been posted by this Jesse Strang. You can read here, okay? The psychology of watching gore. I find it addictive. It's hard not to watch violent content. I'm drawn to it. I don't think much of it.
I mean, don't you
Though
watch
I say
violent
it doesn't
content when
affect me,
you
it's likely
watch
naive.
movies?
I'm sure maybe subconsciously
Movies have some
it
violence
does. It
in
just
them.
doesn't
Like, what are you
feel like a
talking
big
about?
deal. I'm drawn to substances too. It's
I
easy to
mean,
get
don't you
high and
watch
just
rated
zone
R
out into
movies
videos of
where
this
there's
stuff. Does it impact my
sometimes
mental
blood
health?
and gore?
Mine's probably already fucked.
Right,
I've tried
people
to stray
die.
away from
Right,
watching
people
this type of
dying
thing
sometimes.
because it really sucks me in and is a
Right, shit
massive
like
useless
that.
time dump, but I never really saw any benefit. I think the retards in the comment section
I mean,
are more
obviously it's
bothersome
within a
mentally
movie,
than
but
the videos I
you
try to
get
just
what I mean.
not interact with. Dorks XD. So some concerning stuff. Okay,
I mean,
we're
you
getting
play
a little bit of the
video
background
games that
here.
have blood and
The
gore
influence of
sometimes.
anime and
What are
maybe
we
some
doing here? Come on.
expectations about wanting to become a woman, maybe the sexual nature of that content.
And you
leading somebody down the path of
read
wanting to
explicit
become
books
a woman, the
that
violent
are
content,
sometimes
the
adult
use
themes. Do you
of
not?
substances and drugs, and the mixing of these things all at once is probably a really bad cocktail for any individual, let alone a young person who is struggling with gender dysphoria. And I know a lot of people are going to say, Amala, why the focus on this identity? There are people of all different types of identities who
because
commit
a lot of
acts of
these
violence and
politicians
acts of
played
violence like
into the
that,
identity
of mass
politics
shootings
with
and school
putting
shootings.
fucking pronouns and
we
shit.
have to look at the stats on this.
And then some
stats
of them
do
actually
exist,
took off
although
their
I think this is an
pronoun
understudied
distinction
part of
because
this particular
for
bit of
whatever
crime, because it's a
reason
conversation that people
their
don't
whole
wanna have.
party
And
decided,
that's
yeah, we
evidenced
can't do
by the
this
fact that
anymore,
we have the
guys.
media
It's not
referring to
working.
this person as a gun person, a female, a woman,
Not
in a
working,
dress.
guys. It's
Okay,
not
we're
working.
clearly not ready to have an open conversation about this particular group and the likelihood of mass shootings within this particular group. But there are some stats here. Mass shooting rates by demographic, 2015 to 2025. Who are the leading demographics here? Trans/non-binary biological male is overwhelmingly the leading demographic. Secondary to that, trans non-binary biological female. And when we put these two categories together, here's what you get. Mass shooting rates
No,
by
don't
demographic.
do that.
Overwhelmingly in the lead is trans/non-binary all. I mean, the proof is there.
Don't
the
do
conversation
that.
needs to be had.
Don't
How many
show
more
the
times does this
statistics.
have to
Oh,
happen
hold on.
before we can
All
be
right, she kind of blocked it, but right. Oh man. Oh man. God damn it, you fucking Asian. See, this is why you can't trust Asians. It's okay, I can say that I'm Asian.
the leading demographic. Secondary to that, trans non-binary biological
So you
female.
can't-
And when we put these two categories together, here's
yeah,
what
you can't
get.
trust blacks
Mass
and
shooting
whites.
rates by demographic.
Yeah, goddamn. Yeah,
Overwhelmingly
fuck
in the
everyone
lead
right here.
is trans
Fuck all these people.
non-binary all. I mean,
Down
the
with the
proof is
system.
there. The conversation needs to be had. How many more times does this have to happen before we can begin to have that conversation? We are not protecting children in this conversation. And the sad part about it is, if we had intervention when it comes to gender dysphoria, if we were treating this properly, which does not involve allowing these kids to lop off their breasts, putting them on hormone replacement therapy, sending them to gender clinics where they're being blindly affirmed for the gender that they believe themselves to be rather than the gender that they are.
I don't have to say it again, but there's
were not doing
already
those
been
things,
some
and
cases
instead trying to
of
intervene in a way that
those
affirmed
underage
the
people
actual
who are
identity of these
now
individuals, the
adults
actual sex
have
of these
come out and
individuals,
said,
and
yeah,
put them
that
on
was
a
a
healthy
mistake.
pathway to lead a healthy life, maybe we wouldn't be dealing with the mass shootings. We
So,
wouldn't
I
be
mean,
dealing with the
yes,
Jesse Strings
I mean,
and the Audrey
if you're
Hales
not
and the
fully
Robin Westwoods and the
convinced
Tyler
yourself,
Robinsons.
don't force
And
yourself,
how
yeah?
many more times do we have to see these things take place and see the obvious connection between trans
If you don't have the
ideology
conviction
and the
yourself,
results
why would you
before
put
we
yourself
have
in
the
that fucking position?
conversation and talk about it? Because when we see mass shootings of any kind, it seems more often than not, there are very clear red flags and signs that these individuals are going to go on to commit and act like this. And I'm talking outside of the transgender identity. These are people who are often struggling socially. They're letting their parents know. They're letting their school administrators and teachers know through red flags and signs that they could go
well,
out.
also, you have
and act
some
like this,
people who
and
are
it's
like
just being
egging it on
overlooked
purposefully.
time and time again.
Like,
and if we overlook the connection,
right, it's like the fat
the
acceptance
seeming
bullshit,
connection
right?
between
They're
this
egg,
identity
right? Some of these
and
people
this
egg
act,
this shit on
we're doing a
purposefully,
disservice to everybody.
and then it gets so
to the victims
bad.
of these
There's
crimes. We're doing a
no
disservice
right
to the future
that
victims
you
of
can't
these
go
crimes.
back.
Because right now we can
right?
look at this, we can look at the data.
Once
and
it
see this
gets
is
that
probably
bad,
going to happen again
there's no coming back.
because we're not addressing it and we're not having the conversation. And we do this all the time, unfortunately. And you know what? This video is just a video to talk about it. To at the very least say, I don't know exactly why this identity seems to be connected to this, but there does seem to be a connection. So let's open the table up and talk about it.
I mean, maybe because they're
includes
fucking
anybody
drugged
of
out
all
of their
identities,
minds
people
and
who
their
are
fucking minds are
trans-identifying.
broken.
Have the conversation too.
What?
This is not an
They're
attack
mentally
on law-abiding
broken.
trans
And then they
citizens
go
trans
out
citizens who
thinking,
don't want
oh
to be
yeah,
school shooters.
this is going to
Come
be the
the
best
table too and
thing. I'm
have a
going to go kill
conversation
some
about
people.
this.
Like,
Because
what?
I imagine this is not something that looks
They
good
are broken people,
for
and they should
your
not be
community,
fucking.
if we wanna
How
call
are
it
they getting
that
guns
at
in the
this
first
moment, or
place?
your particular
Right, you're
demographic.
taking a
But
crazy
if you
amount of
refuse to
drugs
have the
that fuck
conversation
with
and
your
you say
hormones
this is a
and
transphobic discussion,
right,
we're not going to
fuck
get
with your
anywhere,
mental
and this will continue
stability.
to happen.
Like, what are you
So,
doing?
That's the update as to this shooting in British Columbia. We haven't even gotten the names of the victims. We haven't gotten a lot of background on this particular shooter, and I think there's many reasons for that. We have not been told whether or not there's a manifesto or anything written about why this individual did what they did, and we'll hold on and see what the update looks like there. Just wanted to get this out to talk about the facts that we have so far. This is devastating for everybody who's experiencing this, the people of the community, of course, the people who have lost their lives, and it needs to end. And it only ends when we start to talk about what's happening.
Right, because
Guys,
these
I'd like to hear
cases
your
just keep
thoughts in the comments
popping
down
up
below.
more and more now.
Let me know how you feel
It's
about
not.
this.
It's not good.
If you disagree with anything I said in this video, do get out with your respect.
Not good at
I encourage
all.
healthy debate on this channel. And if you like this video, whatever, guys, you know what to do. I will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Not good at all. Let's see what dumbass Gavin scumbag is doing.
Well, a billionaire backlash
The true
is brewing
grifter.
in California
He
over
knows
a
no
proposed
bounds.
bill that would tax the ultra-rich, with some reportedly ready to move their
And
businesses
people
and
still
their
play
money
into his
across
bullshit.
the country to Florida. So that is where we find News Nation's Ryan Bass. Ryan, good morning. What would this bill mean for California, and why Florida? Why
I'm
is that
surprised
the
they haven't
destination
fucking
of
right.
choice?
The feds haven't like kicked him out of fucking
So,
position.
Kelly, Florida checks a lot of boxes for the ultra wealthy here in the state.
Holy
Of course, there's no
fuck.
state income taxes.
Man,
That's
he's
certainly a
ruined
big one.
fucking
There's clear
California, and
residency rules,
everybody's
there's a
still like
growing
playing
tech scene
along and shit.
that's coming here to the Sunshine State as well. If this bill becomes a law, state analysts out of California say that they could lose hundreds of millions of dollars a year in tax revenue. It could lead to job losses, investment losses, and innovation tied to its tech economy as well, which we know is huge with Silicon Valley in California. The 2026 Billionaire Tax Act is backed by a healthcare labor union and would impose a one-time wealth tax, including on money tied up in stocks or private companies, on anyone considered a California resident on January 1, 2026, even if voters approve this later. Supporters say it could raise up to $100 billion for healthcare, food assistance, and education. Now, the Golden State is home to some of the country's wealthiest tech power players. We're talking Google co-founder Larry Page, Meta's Mark Zuckerberg, Oracle's Larry Ellison among them. Under this proposal, all of these folks you see here could face a one-time tax of $1 billion plus. Now, this proposal is triggering many wealthy folks.
Oh,
Hedge
the
fund
rich
titan
of the
Bill
rich.
Ackman wrote on X that, quote,
And basically the
California
one
is on a path
percenters.
to self-destruction. Hollywood is already toast, and now the most productive entrepreneurs will
Also,
leave,
Elon Musk
taking
is
their tax
probably
revenues and job
also in
creation
there too.
elsewhere.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So we got to talk about back-to-back major blows to Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, as the mass exodus from California escalates. Okay, if you guys weren't aware, there's a mass exodus from California. We've seen this, we've studied this, we've talked about this, and it just continues to get worse and worse and worse. Okay, you have big companies, big businesses, billionaires leaving California due to their anti-business, anti-growth, anti-innovation policies, right? AKA progressive socialist policies that are driving away the tax revenue, right? And the first story we got to talk about, the first major blow, is a new refinery closing down, right? As we covered before, refineries are leaving California. They're closing in California due to their Green New Deal policies, right? So their carbon taxes, their taxes on fossil fuels, making it hard for these refineries to do business in California. It's very inefficient. Gas costs a lot.
Yeah, well, I mean, because California loves their regulations, right?
Their policies.
Even though they're
right,
overly regulated and super expensive for no reason at all, other than to basically siphon money from you.
About surging gasoline prices in California. Prices are already the highest gas prices in the country. Fox Business's Jeff Flock is live from a Valero gas station right now in New Jersey. Jeff?
Yeah, Valero got out of California.
Gas stations all across the country, but it's this refinery that is particularly important to California. Environmentalists are cheering the shutdown because of the decline of pollution, but the question is, where is California going to get its gas?
Yeah, they lose gas.
In the town of Benicia, California. And by the way, fun fact, that used to be the capital of California, believe it or not, before it was Sacramento. They got a heavy fine for toxic emissions this year and from California, and they decided to shut it down. 400 jobs lost, as well as a lot of tax revenue. That leaves just 6 refineries left in the state of California after the shutdown of a Phillips 66 refinery there earlier this year. The state, by the way, is the largest consumer of fuel except for Texas. The legislators, the Republicans in the state, say they need a special session to address this. Writing to the governor, they say decades of state policies targeting oil and gas have created a cost and supply crisis with serious consequences, and it's going to get worse without swift action. We talked to a California legislator about it. Listen.
California is truly at a breaking point. Refineries are closing, supply is diminishing, and my constituents are paying more at the pump every single day. And it isn't theoretical. This is happening right now. And the longer we wait to address this issue, the more instability and volatility we'll see here in California.
Yeah, so it's amazing to me how when it came to Trump, when it came to immigration, when it came to protecting illegal immigrants, ICE, you know, these California lawmakers, Democrats specifically, thought that it was appropriate to act swiftly, right? To do something about it, right? To have special sessions, to do what they need to do in order to address the emergency, right? But when it comes to gas prices, when it comes to cost of living, when it comes to these big businesses leaving California, right? And again, this
it's going to put
it's
going to put pressure on California to raise the gas prices and shit, because you're having all these businesses
issue, right? Just basic supply and demand. Yeah, there's no sense of urgency, right? They're not
exactly
trying to stop this from happening, right? Stopping these businesses from leaving, right? Apparently, this is not as much of an emergency as defending illegal immigrants, right?
Yeah, and like
And
once
he's
these
trying to fight
businesses
Trump
leave
administration.
completely,
And I think this
right?
is a great
They're
example of
right.
the
California's
priorities of
gonna have to
Democrats,
make up the
which
cost
is not with the
somehow, right?
people,
They're
it's
gonna have to
with
get
political grandstanding, attacking
get
Trump, and
get
defending
right
illegal immigrants,
oil
not
or
with
gas from somewhere
lowering their
else
cost of
right
living,
now.
right? Not
So
with
that's gonna
affordability.
be
And
extra
this is why
money.
I chuckle when Democrats run around
Because
talking
now
about
they have to
affordability,
import
affordability,
it.
affordability, as if blue states aren't the highest cost of living states in this country, and affordability got out of control under Joe Biden, right? Under Democrat leadership. This is why I'm begging people not to be fooled by Democrats and their snake oil that they're trying to sell people, pretending as if they actually have a solution to affordability.
Oh
They
yeah,
don't.
no.
Just look at
Yeah, the people
their
in
leadership
California. Yeah,
in these
no,
blue
these
states.
Democrats in
They're not
California, they
affordable.
do
They're
not
the
have a
least
solution.
affordable states in
They
this
just
country.
keep hemorrhaging
And
money.
It seems
Right,
to me you have
they're
some
fucking
people who are silly
bleeding
enough
us.
to believe that Democrats actually have the solution to quote unquote affordability.
At least they're
when,
bleeding
again,
the
you
working
just look at their
class and the
states
poor
see
people, right?
That they don't, right? So with that being said, we got to talk about the next
The
major
rich
blow
people
for
don't
Governor
fucking
Gavin
right.
Newsom,
They don't give
who
a
has
fuck.
been trying to stop the so-called billionaire tax from causing billionaires to leave California. Okay, now Gavin Newsom, for as bad as he is, he has enough common sense to know that, hey, if we tax unrealized capital gains, this is going to cause our tax revenue to leave, and we're not going to be able to pay for all of our waste, fraud, and abuse and our socialism, which is why he is against this. Not because
Oh, don't
he's,
forget communism, too.
not a Marxist, a socialist. No, he is. He just understands
don't
that,
forget.
hey, sometimes you go too far,
California,
and
yeah.
unrealized capital gain taxes are probably a little bit too far.
California already heavily relies on its top
Where they
earners
strangle
for
your
bulk of the cash
freedoms
that provides key
into a
state
commie
services.
state.
So some state leaders like Governor Gavin Newsom are worried that even just losing a few of these people could mean a huge hit to the state's bottom line. As this debate intensifies, the governor is doubling down on his fight.
It's a badly drafted effort. It's already had an outsized impact on this state.
A new billionaire tax in California, still a non-starter for Governor Gavin Newsom. He made this clear at a press conference in San Francisco Friday.
It does not support our public educators, does not support our teachers and counselors, our librarians. It doesn't support our first responders and firefighters. It doesn't support the general fund.
Billionaires are apparently bowing out of California based on the threat of this landing on the ballot. Venture capitalist Chamath Palihapitiya has claimed $1 trillion in wealth has left the state. He posted on X, in part, California is doomed unless our political leaders step up quickly.
We know there's lots of excitement about the petition, and so we think it's going to go well.
I spoke with Suzanne Jimenez earlier this month, a leader in the healthcare labor group SCIU-UHW that's pushing it. She said it's a one-time 5% tax on billionaires to cover the Trump administration's healthcare cuts, which she says could be up to $100 billion.
As all of these outcomes from these cuts happen, we believe that the governor is going to reconsider his position.
But Newsom has yet to be nudged.
What would a compromise look like to you?
I don't know what
He doesn't want to compromise.
To that, Jimenez
He basically wants to see California burn. See, he doesn't want to. Look, he doesn't want to give Trump a win, right? That's the real issue. He doesn't want to give Trump right. He doesn't want help. Right? He doesn't want to ask help because he knows once he's he asks for help, Trump is gonna fuck. He's gonna shit on it.
Right? Let's be honest. These people probably voted for him. They probably
He's
support
gonna
him.
fucking
He probably welcomed
shit
their
on him.
support, right, when it was convenient. But he's trying to protect the tax revenue, right? That's actually what he's trying to protect. Okay, trust me. If he could tax these individuals without them actually leaving, he would, right? And they have done that. Okay, but at some point, people are going to say enough is enough. When you talk about taxing unrealized capital gains, right?
Yeah,
unreal.
Basically, that's right. That's money you'll probably will not see.
Right, that's not an easy thing to do. That's a very complex thing to do.
Yeah, that's a right. That's a future. Right, that's a future telemetry on if things go well.
That type of tax.
Right, that's
because it's never
if
just a one-time
things
thing.
go
It's just
well.
one time, right? No, it's not one
But
time.
yeah,
They do it
right.
once,
That's
then it becomes
that's
permanent.
not
After it becomes
real
permanent,
money right
then they
there.
say,
That's
"Oh, well,
fake.
we
It's
were able to
fictional.
tax the billionaires. Now it's time to tax the millionaires, right? They
It's
got
not
a whole
physical,
bunch of
man.
unrealized capital gains because socialists can never take enough of somebody else's money to pay for their free programs, right? They can never take enough of somebody else's money to do it. So it starts there. And then, the millionaires have to pay. And then after that, the individuals who make over, $100,000 income per year, right? That's what they're going to do. It always
Also, that unrealized,
moves to the masses
that
eventually, right?
unrealized
Anybody who
telemetry,
understands the
yeah, that
history of
shit's
income
going to go
taxes
fucking
in this country
haywire
understands
year
that it's
after year.
always
So you
marketed
don't
the
know if
same
it's going to be
way at
correct
the
or
beginning,
not, right?
right? At the beginning, it's always, it's only for the rich. Only the rich are going to pay. Only the 1% are going to pay, right? Until, again, the government realizes that, hey, we can go after more than just the 1%, right? We can pay for more socialism if we start taxing other rich folks, right? The 5%, the 10%, then the 20%, then the 50%. Because with socialism, taking somebody else's money to pay for free stuff, that's a good way to get votes, right?
Yeah.
Again, politicians
great
figure this stuff out,
socialism,
man.
yeah.
They figure this stuff out, and that's what happens. So,
Well, it's
California's
communism
going through
because
that.
you're
The smart billionaires
you're
are
taking
leaving,
everyone's
right? They're already
money,
starting to leave. Like, for example,
right, and then
you have
redistributing
Mark
it
Zuckerberg,
to the
the
government
CEO of
in a
Meta.
sense.
He
Right, because
now
not a lot of,
reportedly
right, or
is
only
leaving
the oligarchy,
for Florida, right? He's bought a
right,
new
so to speak, is going to see that money.
mansion in
Right, none of the
Florida,
working,
which
right, like I said, none of the
indicates that,
working
he's on the way
class,
out,
the
like the rest of
poors,
the billionaires, the
right,
smart ones
people who are,
don't
right,
want
day
to be
by day
subject
trying to,
to
right,
these
make
insane
ends meet,
taxes in
or at least
California.
try
This
to,
is a
right,
big deal. Because
acquire
remember,
their own, right,
their
house and
income
stuff like
taxes are
that. They're
leaving,
not,
right?
a
For as
lot
much
of
as
these people will
wanna run
probably
around
not
playing,
see that
they
money.
don't pay their fair share, right? They do pay income taxes, right? They pay income taxes on their salaries, the money that they do get, and the people that they employ, right? So if these billionaires are leaving, then their income taxes are leaving. Right?
Yeah,
Their
like I
revenue
said,
is
it's
leaving.
just going to hurt.
The revenue from the taxes
Well, I
that
mean, it's going to
the
hurt
people they
everyone in
employ around
California.
them and their
Right,
small
all of these
businesses
businesses
and
leaving
things of that
hurts
nature,
California.
that leaves as
Everyone.
well too. And if that leaves,
And
all
then,
of a
and
sudden
then
now
the government's going to
you're
be like,
missing
oh,
hundreds
no,
of millions, if not
it's
billions of
not
dollars
our
in
fault.
tax
It's
revenue.
their fault.
And
No,
guess
no,
what?
it's your fault.
Politicians at that
You
point
fucking,
are left with a
you
choice,
caused them
right?
to
The
leave.
choice is either
You know
to
that, right?
raise taxes on the people who are there, right? Which will be the middle class, or to cut social programs, right? Two very, very, very hard choices that end up hurting the same people that the
Yeah,
politicians
I
claim
mean,
they were
right,
trying
no
to
one's
help,
winning in
right?
this.
That's how it
Everyone's
works.
going to get fucking
Just ask
slapped.
Chicago, right? Ask Chicago. We talked about this. So without further ado, let's get into Zuck potentially leaving California.
This is a huge story with a huge price tag. The Wall Street Journal reporting Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg has bought a $150 million home in Florida. The palatial estate is in the super exclusive Indian Creek area. It kind of makes Zuck a semi-neighbor with fellow zillionaire Jeff Bezos, along with Carl Icahn, Ivanka Trump, Jared Kushner, Tom Brady, and more. Now, it's not clear if Zuckerberg is leaving California or just buying a Florida crash pad. Why not? But I did post on X about it last night and noted that companies, let's be honest, folks, you know this. Companies have a tendency to find executives hanging out near where their CEO is. And if Meta maybe could move some people to the area, they already have a growing office in Miami. Now, one of those who saw the post and responded was hedge fund billionaire Bill Ackman, who responded to my tweet and said, quote, "California is toast. Self-immolation," end quote.
Oh,
Ackman is referring to the state's high tax rate for top
yeah,
earners.
pretty much.
This issue obviously getting a lot of attention. Does it actually mean anything other than a rich guy buying another home? Let's talk about it with CNBC's wealth editor, Robert Frank. Robert Frank, the hard-hitting question
I mean, you
is,
could call
does
that
this
with the
mean anything
Palisades
other
fire.
than another rich guy
Right, that was
buying
like a
another home?
fucking self-immolation. Jesus.
Well, it does mean something, Brian. It's an important story, but maybe not for the reasons that Bill Ackman is talking about. There are a lot of billionaires in California with their hair on fire right now, calling this the end of California because of this tax, which let's break down the facts. So this is a tax that would be a one-time tax of 5% on the total wealth of any billionaire in California. Now, this has not gotten on the ballot yet. So number one, you have to get the signatures to get on the ballot. Number two, it has to get a majority of the voters in November to pass on that ballot. And three, and this is the most important thing, if this passes on the ballot, it will likely not pass the courts. And by that, I mean both the state Supreme Court and the federal court, because this would be the first ever wealth tax. But having said all that, if you're Mark Zuckerberg, Larry Page, Sergey Brin, Sergey Brin moved to Florida from California. Sergey Brin has bought a house. As you say, Mark Zuckerberg bought a house. Unclear if he's officially moved his residence or not. But if those folks eventually move, whether it's permanent or it's temporary pending this outcome, this is a big loss for California because as we've seen, Larry Page already moved. They're already moving their philanthropy. I know for a fact that some of them have moved their kids in schools. And some of them have moved their family
people
offices.
are moving,
They've
man.
moved some of their private
There's an
companies that are
exodus.
not attached to, say, Google, Amazon, or Meta. And so their own personal ecosystem, whether it's the company or not, may have already moved for some of these people.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, it's a signal, right? It's a signal that, hey,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Check the U-Haul. Check the U-Haul reports.
Passes, we have the capabilities
right.
of
Check the
moving.
U-Haul reports or
And
any
basically what it does is that it
right
says to
storage
California
movement
lawmakers that, hey,
right truck
you better not let this
company.
pass, right? Or else we're out of here. We're going. I mean, we're leaving anyways. Like, let's keep it 100. They're probably gonna leave
Check the
anyways
numbers. You'll
because
find
taxes
out
are
real
of
quick
control
who
in
the fuck
California
is
right now,
leaving.
right? And you talking about paying almost 50%? Yeah, this just signals that they're gonna continue to tax more. So at the very least, even if this doesn't pass, it says, hey, we're still going to try to tax you, right? They may try to do some compromise proposal, right? What it signals is that taxes are going to continue to go up. And at some point, again, tax rates are going to be so high that the revenue is going to leave, which would defeat the purpose of raising the taxes in the first place, right? The whole point of raising taxes is to raise revenue. If raising taxes leads to less revenue, then that defeats the purpose, right?
Correct.
You're actually working against what your stated goal is, right?
Like I said, it's a mutual destruction, right?
I mean, again, I'm not a
you're
billionaire,
just
so who knows,
destroying
maybe
yourself.
Zuck is buying this, bachelor pad, right, in Billionaire Row in Florida, in Miami, because he needs a vacation home, right? I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe not. But personally, I wouldn't imagine buying a $150 million home. If I didn't plan on living in it, right, spending a significant amount of time in it. But then again, I'm not a billionaire, so I don't know. Maybe this is just something that they do, right?
Yeah,
When
we're
you have
not
the
we're
money,
not billionaires
do
where
stuff
they
like that. Who
can
cares?
move
I don't know. I'm
freely
just saying
wherever they
that
want
at the very least, this is a
to like
signal
their
that they have the
summer or
capability
vacational
leave
home
as you have individuals
that
who
they
are
have
actually
have
leaving,
like 4
okay?
of in
And
different
Zuck is
fucking
just one
parts
the
of the
biggest
United
names
States.
thus far when you talk about tech giants who are
Or maybe it's
potentially leaving
maybe they
California and
have
showing that they
a
the
home
means
out of
to do so.
out of
Hundreds of
country.
jobs. And I want to clear this up because there's a you'll see some politicians come out and they'll be like they can afford to pay a little more and do their fair share, right? And it's like we're not talking about. I want to be. Tell me if I'm wrong. We're not talking about a couple of percent more on their income. Okay, yes, they can afford that easily. From what I've seen, because the way the wealth tax is structured, some of this would confiscate billions or tens of billions or more of their income because not income, wealth because it's an equity. Correct? What am I missing?
Be realized. That's what I'm curious about as well, Robert. So, like, let's say you make $10, but your wealth is $5 million, and you have to pay $1 million on that. And what do you do?
Well, let's just break down real numbers. So for Larry Page, Sergey Brin, Mark Zuckerberg, you're talking about tax bills of $12–15 billion. So, but that's one piece of it. The second piece is in order to raise that amount of cash, these guys are rich, but they don't have $10 billion lying around. They have to sell their shares. When you sell your shares, you pay a capital gains tax, both federal and state.
A lot of
And
these
so
people don't
that
have
tax
like
on
a
top
lot of
that, plus you have to
physical
pay the
cash
tax on the
on
shares you
hand,
sold to pay
right?
the tax. So you're talking about
Right, all of their
$12–15
assets
billion
are
in
right in
taxes,
these
but probably
companies.
$20 billion or so once
Or in these
the
real
net
estate
of that
properties,
to pay
right?
the 5% California wealth tax. So it's more than it looks. They can afford it. That is absolutely true. When you're worth $240 billion, you can spare $12 or $20 billion. But for them to, even if it's just sort of a chance of this passing, it makes sense as a hedge to buy in Florida, perhaps even move there for now, and then see where it all shakes out. By the way, even if this doesn't pass, it could be next year or the year after. So the fear is California will keep doing this until something works.
Yeah,
And
until socialists take over, right? I mean, that's
well,
just what it is. You can see.
well,
where
you
it's
have
headed, right?
well,
The
you
fact
have
that
some
they're
communism
even,
right now
like,
in California.
doing it, right? There's even a chance.
Yeah,
of it
socialism,
passing, tells
right?
you, okay,
Socialism
this
is just
state
an
too far gone,
additive.
right? The socialists have taken over. We're out. We need to leave imminently, right, before it actually does pass, right? So again, it's a smart move. You know, I don't know if they can actually afford the tax, right? This dude is saying, well, I guess you have $10 to $15 billion to spare. No. That's not exactly how it works, right?
Yeah.
Because think about it. In order
Oh,
to
don't worry, we
actually
got you
pay
on credit,
the
guys.
12 to 15 billion dollars, even if you got 250 billion dollars in net worth, right? The problem with that is that those shares, when you go to sell them at such a large volume, that causes a lot of selling pressure in the market, and that in and of itself drives down the value of the shares, right? Which
Yeah,
means
because
that you're
people
gonna
are
have to sell
watching
more
that
shares
shit.
than
Right?
what you have
People
to
are
sell on
watching
paper originally
this
when you,
fucking
you know,
shit
go to
go
sell
up
it.
and down,
You're
and
gonna
they're
have
all
to
like,
sell
whoa,
more in
someone
order
just
to get the
fucking sold a
proceeds,
bunch of
and that
shares.
in and of itself is going to decrease the value of the stock, right, tremendously, which will affect the value of a lot of people's 401ks, a lot of people's investments. It's not going to work out as cleanly
Yeah,
as
have you heard of day
and believe,
traders?
right? Because again,
Or
there's a
fucking,
reason why there is a very complicated process
people who just trade
these,
for their job.
individuals have to go through in order to sell
They
shares
just
in the
trade
first place.
stocks.
Okay, when you're somebody like a Mark Zuckerberg, you know, Jeff Bezos or whatever, you just can't willy-nilly sell shares, right? You have to go through a process in order to do it because of the effects of somebody like a Mark Zuckerberg or Jeff Bezos or whoever having to sell such a large number of shares. It has to be structured. It can't be done all at one time, right?
Yeah.
So, you know,
Because you're gonna cause you're gonna cause
process,
a
right?
panic
It's not a simple
or a
thing.
crash.
And
Right, if you
I
do that
think
kind
at
of
this
shit.
point, again, these billionaires see the writing on the wall and they say,
I
hey,
mean,
you
what
know
do you
what?
think?
We're just gonna leave.
Why
We're
do you
gonna
think
dip,
the crypto
right?
market is
The
so
fact that this is even a
fucking
conversation means
so
that
risky
California is
and
too far
right
gone.
shady?
We'd rather go to Florida.
Especially when you
We'd
got
rather
people
take
doing
our
those
talent
pump
to
and
a
dumps,
red
yeah.
state, to a sane state, to a low tax state.
It's the same way with the
And,
stock
you
market,
don't
but
have to
it's
deal with these socialists
way
anymore.
more heavily
And
regulated.
this is why I say that
And
in
there's no
20
way you
years,
can pump
this
and dump.
country's gonna look a lot different, right? A lot different. Okay, in terms of how we think about red states and blue states, especially when you talk about innovation and growth, right? Red states are going to be in a lot better place than these blue states, and that's because of what's happening today. 20 years from now, you're really going to see the effect of all of this, and I think that's the real takeaway here. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.
All right, there you go. Black conservative perspective. Oh shit, I forgot.